Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on Game 3 of the best of 3 matchup, the tiebreak decider in the round of 8, the quarterfinal stage of the OSL between Bisu and Xavier. Xavier took the first one by completely outplaying Bisu on Blue Storm, and that was a pretty exciting game, but Game 2 certainly topped that on Katrina, with a seesaw battle between the two players with Bisu coming out on top. So this is the tiebreaker, both players need to win. Bisu obviously has the advantage right now because he's just won the last game, so he is absolutely full of confidence and looks like a fan of one of the players there, a little bit shy. I love how the Korean girls are so shy. I think it's very demure and a total turn on for me personally. Anyway, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of strategies these guys apply here. This is Fantasy 2, and really anything can go on this map. It can be a heavy macro game, it can be a heavy micro game. Definitely I think drops are something that will come into play here because of those island expansions. Protoss players are very effective at hiding expansions there, getting an early Protoss, so I would expect Bisu's build to involve some sort of early-ish shuttle, whether he fast expands or not. He has put that pylon down at the bottom of his ramp at the start, so that suggests to me that he's looking to put a forge down next and fast expand. Xavier meanwhile is just pumping up the drones, and I think Xavier should probably go for a 3-hatch build, especially on a map this size. Bisu obviously the advantage of the scout because his probe is going to traverse the map much faster than Xavier's Overlord, and Bisu indeed does put up that forge, so as I anticipated, Bisu starting up with a fast expansion, and really he's gone with a fast expand strategy in all 3 games versus Xavier, so that's not surprising. I don't think the strategy Xavier used in game 1, and Xavier going for the hatchery as well, so Xavier fast expands as well, and Xavier putting that hatchery down. Bisu now sending a second probe out to get that scout through, so he's going to find that hatchery. Xavier starting at the 9 o'clock base on Fantasy 2 in the teal, and Bisu is in yellow again at the 1 o'clock base. So, God, I wish I could read Korean, but that guy needs to borrow glasses from Nada or something, because his style is a few decades gone. Anyway, as I was saying, shuttle would be... I wouldn't be surprised to see Bisu getting a robotics facility pretty early on, rather than going for his usual Corsair Dark Templar, because I think that would allow him to put down more expansions on the island, and I don't think Xavier is likely to go for a drop strategy early on in this game the way he did in the last game. There's not enough incentive to do that, so Bisu could potentially hide an expansion in an island and have a significant economic advantage that Xavier doesn't know about, and that might very well end up influencing the game in a huge way. Of course, I'm completely talking out of my backside at the moment because I haven't seen this game before and I have no idea what's going to happen. Xavier going for the 3-hatchery strategy, so Xavier takes the base just on the ramp above his natural expansion. So Xavier with a 3-hatch strategy, I don't think he's even put a spawning pool down yet. Bisu predictably has put down his Nexus and his Gateway, so predictable play from both players thus far. I expected both of them to fast expand. Xavier has put his spawning pool down actually. He has not set up the extractor yet though, so you can anticipate him putting that down next, and Bisu starting up the photon cannon as well. I'm surprised to see Bisu invest in that photon cannon. I guess the fact that he spotted that spawning pool is what's tempted him to put that photon cannon down, but the fact that Xavier has a long way to traverse in the map, Bisu could have taken his time before trying to put that photon cannon down. Certainly I wouldn't anticipate him spending more than 1 photon cannon because his Zealot will certainly be out in time by the time Xavier's Lings get up there. So I think Bisu might have wasted a little bit of resources there, though I don't think it's going to make a huge difference in the long term. And Bisu cleverly scouting the ramp above Xavier's main server's natural expansion as well, so he knows exactly what Xavier's got. Xavier's got for the 3-hatch build, so he knows Xavier's investing in economy, which means Bisu's going to be able to tech quite fast. He won't have to worry too much about investing too many resources in defense. Xavier's got his extractor up as well though, and he's starting to mine from it, so both players look like they're going to be teching up, and it's just going to be interesting what sort of tech they go for, whether Xavier decides with his 3-hatch build that he can go for kind of Hydralisks and Zerglings as well like he did the previous game, or whether he's going to go for a Spire Force. He did go for a Spire Force, but he didn't really go for Mutalisks in a big way last time around, because he felt he obviously... And Xavier putting up the Hydralisk Den straight away. He's not gone for the lair, he's gone for the Hydralisk Den, so we can anticipate an early attack by Xavier. I think this is a mistake, because I think that Xavier sort of kind of did this exact same build the last game around, and he ended up losing to Bisu in the end. Of course, I think the big difference this time around is Xavier's got a lot smaller an area to defend with his 3 bases. However, that being said, it's still pretty difficult to maneuver those Hydralisks between those 3 bases. If Xavier goes for a similar strategy to the last time, he's going to find himself outmaneuvered by Bisu, and Bisu really took full advantage of his Corsair's maneuverability last game, and that's what won in the game. He maneuvered around Xavier's Hydralisk beautifully and kept Xavier on the... Even though he was on the back foot, he kept Xavier back and managed to come out with a victory. And I think Xavier's playing right into his hands with this build here. Going for the Hydralisk again, although I'm not sure what else he can do, because he obviously feels it will be difficult for him to establish air superiority. And Xavier now doing a clever job of denying Bisu the scout. He's got both those ramps blocked off with Zerglings, so Bisu's not going to know what he's building, and that probe is going to be ushered out by Xavier's defenses, just by the 2 links there. So Xavier not building any more than his initial 2 links, and this is going to allow him to tech up. Bisu circling around with that probe. Xavier's got a couple of Hydralisks as well. He needs to keep those Hydralisks back, otherwise they might fire accidentally on the probe and give his position away. I don't think Xavier's ready to do that just yet, even if he is producing mass Hydralisks. I think Xavier wants to get that probe out, and I think that probe might have seen those Hydralisks, so Xavier's tech has been revealed. Bisu is putting up that robotics facility as anticipated. He obviously realizes he needs to get something up for defense ASAP, so he's going to try and pump that Reaver out. I think Bisu would be making a big mistake if he doesn't get that robotic support bay up as quickly as possible. Bisu putting a lot of photon cannons down, realizing that Xavier is going for an early-ish attack. Again, I think the length of the map is going to make the difference here. It's a long distance to traverse. Xavier obviously hasn't upgraded his units yet. Xavier now starting up that 4th hatchery in his main this time, not going for an expansion, and I think that's clever play. But I think this attack is not going to be very successful. Bisu's got a lot of photon cannons up. I think he's bought himself enough time to get his Reavers up. Xavier doesn't have enough resources, and his supply route is really, really long. Although that being said, he can box Bisu into his base for a while he techs, but I don't think Bisu will mind that. I think Bisu will be happy to turtle and get up his Reaver. So Xavier bullied out by Bisu's defenses. Bisu's got about 5 cannons and a Dragoon up in close proximity of each other, very well placed defenses, and forces Xavier back with those Hydralisks. Xavier just not having enough units, and I really didn't think that was ever going to work for Xavier. I think Xavier would have been much better off going straight for the Spire to start off with, but I suppose he felt he needed to get the Hydralisk den up to defend against those Corsairs, so it makes sense in that respect. But I really didn't think Xavier would be able to do any damage to Bisu's defenses. Bisu obviously anticipating the Hydralisk, so Bisu has got the Corsair up. Now Xavier, at the very least, what Xavier can do is he can stop Bisu from using those Corsairs to do too much damage to Xavier's overlords early on and hamper his growth. So Xavier, at the very least, can keep his growth steady. He's only now putting up the Spire. He obviously needs the Scourges, but Bisu obviously is going to start building up these Corsairs. And once again, because Xavier has relented by going primarily for Hydralisk to start with, he has relented that advantage to Bisu of the air superiority. So Bisu's going to have the air superiority at least early on in this game. We saw Xavier whittle down Bisu's Corsairs, but unfortunately by the time he took those Corsairs out, it was too little too late. Bisu had already switched production primarily to ground forces, and Xavier was unable to counter them with the fledgling ground forces that he had. So Bisu just trying to maneuver around the Corsairs. Now he's got full scouting view of Xavier's base, and this is a bit of a seesaw thing that we do have between seesaw balance that we do have between Protoss and Zerg players, where initially the Zerg player has the advantage of being able to scout. Bisu's got the robotic support bay up already. No surprise there. We anticipated that. And Bisu again going for the same strategy as he went for in the last game. He sees no need to change the winning formula. It's Xavier that's going to have to come up with something new and something interesting. And really, I think both players could win with the strategies they employed in the last game. It just Bisu played it a little bit better. And I think Xavier has a chance to win with a similar strategy, but he's going to have to find some way of countering Bisu's advanced maneuverability. And Bisu's got that shuttle and Reaver up already, so Bisu's going to be ready to harass Xavier anytime now. He might very well wait for a second Reaver to pop out. He obviously doesn't have enough Corsairs yet to fully control the game, and now he's dropping, this is exactly as I predicted, he's dropping the probe off in the 12 o'clock Island Expo, and he's going to have that Expo, and Xavier's not going to be able to touch that Expo, considering the fact that Bisu's got air superiority, and, considering the fact that it's a hidden Expo that Xavier doesn't even know about. But I think considering the fact that Xavier knows Bisu's going to have his Reaver shuttle out, and I'm not even sure if Xavier scouted that robotics facility, but Xavier's got to know that that's what Bisu is going for, so he's got to guess that Bisu will have an Island Expo at some point. The problem for Xavier obviously is going to be scouting that Island Expo and having the drop tech and actually being able to invest in dropping it, and those Island Expos are very easily defensible, and I do think that they give the Protoss player a strong advantage in the game. Bisu's Zealot just meanders past that drone at the 10 o'clock base that Xavier was looking to set up an expansion there. And again, I think the problem for Xavier really is going to be defending on all fronts against the multiple attacks from Bisu, and here again the Zerg suffer in terms of their defensive structures because they have to invest separately in Sunkens and in Spore Colonies, whereas the Protoss player can just throw up a bunch of photon cannons and then forget about it. So he's put up 3 photon cannons already, so I think Bisu's positioning himself for a very strong late game, and Xavier now trying to anticipate those. I think if Xavier had Burrow here, if he could burrow those Hydralisks and have them hidden, he might actually be able to catch off Bisu's shuttle, and that would buy an ideal time. If Xavier can somehow deflect Bisu's first harass attack with his shuttle, and I think it's going to come now. I think Bisu was waiting for the second Reaver, and he's got a speed upgraded shuttle as well. So if Xavier can somehow deflect that first attack, kill that first shuttle before it can do too much damage, then Xavier's going to have a chance.